Hi, everybody. Before we get to another great interview, the Two Opinionated podcast could really use your help. And it's easy, it's free. IMDb, which is the entertainment database, imdb.com, named us a top 100 podcast. We came in at number 82. That's a big deal because there's 15 million podcasts and growing. So to be named to anybody's top 100 list, pretty big deal for us. And the way you can help is to go to imdb.com, look up the Two Opinionated podcast, and that's it. Just bringing our page up. That traffic really helps us out. Our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. All we ask is that you subscribe. It's also free, but that really helps us to attract these amazing guests that we keep bringing on the program. And that's it. Two easy ways for you to support us, and we would really appreciate the help. Now let's get to that interview. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Two Opinionated. I'm so excited today. I've got creators Lindsay and Justin Lee with me. So welcome to you both.
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having us.
You know, I'm so excited to talk with you, and I'm in the grandfather stage.
What? What do you mean?
I've got six, if you can believe it. Now one of them's just a baby, but
six grandkids.
Six grandkids.
Oh,
we've got 4 boys and 2 girls.
What? No, there's no way I would have pegged you as a grandfather.
Well, I appreciate that. That's very kind. And the oldest is just 6, so they're young. But I'm in that.
In our demographic.
Yeah, I'm watching. I'm watching. So yeah,
that's really exciting.
I was very excited to talk with you. Now they're in that they don't really understand what it is I do. So I can say, I haven't, and they'll be like, oh, okay, but they don't really get that. My granddaughter, because we always have the podcast just playing on whatever TV's on, just in the background. Yeah. And she came to me and asked, and she's 5, and she said, Papa, how come you're always on TV?
It's a fair question.
It's fair. I was like, oh, well. So let's start this way. Tell me a little bit about, what got you started in the entertainment business? What brought both of you kind of together? Was one of you in it and then brought the other one in, or were you both in individually? Just talk about, what kind of got you into the business.
Well, I think I can say I wanted to be a filmmaker since I was 6 or 5.
Pretty young.
Or whatever. I think as long as I can remember. And I'm one of those people who didn't have a backup plan. So I was very lucky that I got, my grandfather gave me like a hand-me-down camcorder.
Yep.
And I started making little stop motion movies and some also Super 8 film and all that kind of, that's when I grew up. So it was like camcorder, Super 8 film, action figures, things like that.
I was going to ask you if you were making films with the action figures.
That's kind of rite of passage, I think, for kids, right? And
but then Seth Green has made a whole career out of just playing with action figures.
Robot Chicken is action figures all over the place, and so that's how I started. And I want to say you started with you were playing with your toys and
So much like you always knew you wanted to be a filmmaker, I always knew I wanted to be a writer in some capacity, and so it was sort of like a toss up with university whether I was going to go into journalism or screenwriting. Actually,
this seems like already a pretty good pairing.
Well, we actually met. So then we did meet in university.
We met at TV school.
At TV school. Yeah. So we were a really good pairing.
And while I just always say, while my friends from high school were taking microbiology and they were, cramming for calculus and stuff, I was asking my friends, which one of us is bringing the time machine prop? Anyone got any tinfoil to put on the back of this time machine prop? So that was there was a great contrast between the real school that our friends were doing, studying for these really heavy exams, and then us going we have to shoot a movie this weekend.
That's kind of awesome, actually.
Yeah. But I think the cool thing about doing going to a school where a whole bunch of students want to do this as a career, our professors all worked in the industry. Some of them were responsible for some pretty, I think, iconic, not just Canadian TV, but also just TV in general. Yeah. The guy who taught us lighting and camera, He was the director of photography on Shining Time Station, which was the American version of Thomas the Tank Engine.
Yep.
So we had and for Canadians out there, our studio teacher was he worked for years on Mr. Dress Up, which is like a very famous Canadian kids series with CBC. So
well, yeah, so you had the right people helping you.
yes,
They're teaching you, I guess.
yes.
We did, and I think the good thing about like the school we went to was it was kind of about networking and meeting people, and also having access to equipment, you know, stuff that so you could sort of just experiment on your own, but you had that support network. Like for me, in high school, my high school was very, very math and science focused, so I didn't really know any other creative people in school. I was doing a bunch of extracurricular stuff.
You started an improv group, an improv club.
Improv group,
because
improv's not easy. That's good.
Right.
But I was doing a lot of theater and stuff at the time in high school. But then actually going to university was so refreshing because these people were industry veterans who were teaching us, but also like all the students there.
Most of the students wanted to be there.
And in my head, all of it, because I had nobody in high school. So, you know, like kind of nice just to be around.
Right.
We all wanted to write.
I mean, did either of you consider going the acting route, or was it always more, you know, the creating behind the scenes route?
Michael, that's a very good question, because I think we both are like shy performers, and that's how we ended up being puppeteers, is because
I'm a shy podcaster. I get that.
Right.
Exactly.
And we totally, no, we do, seriously, we get it, because like I always had an acting bone, and you always had an acting bone. We always wanted to perform, and when we were really little, I think we were likely to jump in front of our families and do a puppet show or like do a thing or whatever. But then as we got older, you get a little more self-conscious. I liked doing, you know, voice acting, and I've done a bit of that professionally, but also puppeteering and being behind a character that you're bringing that character to life, but you're not on camera yourself, is kind of like the sweet spot for us. And I feel like animators have that same thing. It's like you're acting through something else. So
I kind of love that. I mean, do you ever voice your characters? Is that you doing the voices, or do you get other people to do it?
Yeah, we do sometimes.
And I was gonna say we did.
We did. Yeah. So on our previous series, Meekshi, which was hand puppets, we did voice a lot of those characters, but obviously, you know, for our current show, Go Togo, all the main characters are children. Yeah. And, you know, we've got sort of, we had sort of an idea in our heads about what we wanted the adult voices to sound like, and it wasn't us. So,
including one of the characters who's played by Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, who's now obviously in Star Wars and, you know, Avatar.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was really, I mean, we're excited about our entire cast that we have. They're all really talented, wonderful actors, but Paul was like, because he's quite, well known. Yeah. And I just said to you one night, I was like, oh, I wonder if we could just ask him if he would do it. And I didn't think, you know, one way or the other about it, but we got him to voice the grumpy rail grinder character Sparks. And also I had to talk to him about Star Wars while we were in the recording studio.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, how could you not?
A little sidebar about Paul's. So we were in the recording studio for the first session where he's recording for Go Togo. And I just said to him, I was like, oh, so I have to just ask you, like, what you're in Star Wars, like what was that like? And of course, he gave this really beautiful answer about how emotional, man, because he's a genuine Star Wars.
Oh, like, I love that.
Huge fan. Like his basement looks like the Death Star. Like he's a genuine.
I mean, that's who you want as a fan. That's who I want in the movies.
Right. Exactly. And he knows stuff backwards and forwards. The story he told, the short version, and I'm sure you'd probably get a better version from him, is that he went to Lucasfilm to get his costume fitting for the X-Wing pilot suit. Yep. And the costume people at Lucasfilm were having a bit of trouble putting the buckles on and stuff. And they're like, oh, which does go? And he said, I've made this suit myself. So, and he said, I don't want to like step on your toes, but would you like some additional reference photos? I have like a whole thing. And they were like, yes, please give us the photos. At the end of this conversation, he went into the recording studio to do the lines for our character, and the recording engineer turned to me and he said, thank you so much for asking him. I really wanted to ask him that question, like what was it like to be in Star Wars, but I didn't want to be unprofessional. So we all got our answer anyway, which was and I'm sure he probably doesn't mind talking. No.
Awesome
about it.
But he gets it too, I figure, because he's a fan, and I'm sure if it was reversed, he'd asked.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Well, I was really excited to learn that actually one of his first ever acting roles was in a 90s movie called Harriet the Spy,
Yeah.
which was
I
like
remember
my
Harriet the Spy.
favorite movie. Yeah, as a
Yep.
kid.
You watched it
Well,
all?
God.
my oldest
Yeah,
was a '90s kid,
right.
and she loved that movie.
Right, exactly. I know that. And there's so it's one of
And
those like
Paul, who does Paul play in
so
that?
Paul plays there was a Chinese he's Korean background, but he played it was a Chinese family in New York City who Harriet was spying on, and he played like the teenage son who was kind of like trying to rebel
Oh, how
against
neat!
parents.
See,
But
I love those type of connections. I love those.
Even
That
though
to
like
me just says that whole thing was just meant to be.
yeah,
absolutely. Oh,
absolutely.
we felt the same
Yeah,
way.
did you tell him that you watched him here at the
Oh
time?
yeah.
Yeah,
And then when I told him that, he was like, "Oh, I forgot about
yeah.
that." It's so long ago.
I like that some of the actors and performers we've worked with, people that we've grown up watching the work of, will say to them, "Oh my gosh, I loved when you did blank." And of course, they've done so many projects. They go, "Did I do that?" You know, like one of our dear friends, Gord Robertson, played Johnny Five in Short Circuit 2.
Really?
Yeah. And I went and I asked him, I was like, "Didn't you play a robot in the 80s?" And he said, "Absolutely not. I did not do that." And then I pulled up a picture of him doing it. And I was like, "Isn't this you?" And he
How
said,
does
"Oh,
he not remember Johnny Five?
it was his first film
And
job."
he was one of a team of puppeteers, like puppeteering like
Yeah.
the big Johnny Five,
Yeah, the full size
the
one.
full
Yeah.
size.
Yeah.
So I feel like it was like one of those gigs, you do, and you're just like, I was on set for a
Yeah, he
week,
probably just never
8
thought
Oh, he
about
hours,
would have done a
or
month of
a
it.
month.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, fine. But in the course of his life,
I mean, the funny thing is, like, that was the first film job. Jim Henson actually personally recommended him and his two friends to puppeteer Johnny Five
it.
for that role.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, I think he once he remembered, he was
yeah,
like, "Oh yeah, this was very significant in my career," but he had forgotten
he'd
about it. Yeah.
forgotten.
When my wife and I got together, we had both been married previously, so we brought two kids each
Oh
to
wow.
the relationship, and when we wanted eventually we wanted to take them on a trip, the four of them. We're trying to get them used to each other, so we took them to the beach, and they had movies that you could get and watch in the room.
Oh
They had
yeah.
a little VCR at the time, I think. And so the movie we chose was Short Circuit.
Oh, the
And
first one
just
or the second one?
the this was the first one. This
Okay,
was
the
the
first
first
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
and but I still remember, and the kids still remember it because that was kind of our first family bonding moment.
Oh,
We were
Wow.
because like we went to the beach. They had met, but we drove separately. So they didn't really get to interact, and there it was difficult. It's difficult combining families, but
yeah.
that one we had such a good time watching that movie, and the
Oh,
kids still talk
Oh,
about it, and I
that's
don't know,
that's a
kind of neat.
wonderful
that's
story.
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean, also, actually, there is a lineage, a through line of Short Circuit that even directly connects with Go Togo, the show that we're making right now.
Really?
Um, again, if I could do the short version of this
yeah.
story, is that like, okay, so I was a big fan of it growing up,
Yeah.
both the movies. So the fact that, Gord Robertson is our friend now is kind of bonkers. Um, and I used to be like online, early internet. I used to kind of be part of the fan group or whatever, and I would contribute stuff and met people through that. And fast forward to meeting Gord Robertson, our friend, and I'd said to him, the second movie had those little toys that they were selling, the little toy Johnny Fives. I was like, when I was a kid, I asked Santa Claus for that every year. He never got it for me. And I said, this was something I was obsessed with. And he was like, "Oh, I have one of them." And I said, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, I kept it after we finished filming. I asked the production if I could keep one." And
Wow.
I started like sweating because like the kid me was like coming back out. And I was like, could you bring it for I just want to see it. I just want to see it, right? And so he brought it, and we took it out of the box, and it was like this kind of like,
Amazing.
holy grail moment for kid me. And then I was talking to someone online who was trying to figure out the dimensions of this prop. He was trying to replicate it, and I became friends with him, and I was like, all right, if I measure this thing for you, it might, so I started sending him measurements of the real prop, the actual one from the
Yeah.
movie. This friend, Andrew Friedberg, he was so good at doing this computer design and like building a 3D model of the Johnny Five. I was like,
Yeah.
"Hey, we're doing the show Meek Sheep for TVO. Could you make us props? Like she needs like a high tech like Swiss Army knife and like a robot and whatever. Could you designed for that. And so he started doing that stuff. And that led to him actually
Wow.
designing the main character of Go Togo, our current show. So if there wasn't Johnny Five, there wouldn't be Togo, if that makes sense. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love little stories like that. Just the little connections. I've said that a lot with the podcast. My favorite interviews are when I interview somebody that I was a fan of when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it just boggles my mind that I'm talking to
yeah.
somebody that I watched, 50 years ago in some cases.
Oh yeah. For sure. Well, to that end, our voice director, Melissa Altro, so I grew up watching Arthur.
Oh yeah.
Like,
I love Arthur. Yeah.
oh man, like I was obsessed. So Melissa has played the voice of Muffy since the very beginning of Arthur. So, and now she's our voice director, but it's funny because we hang out sometimes and when she's talking, I'm just like, it's Muffy.
You went day drinking with Muffy. Yes,
Muffy,
you did.
yeah.
Yes. Which is kind of wild to me. Yeah.
It's the best.
I love that. Well, and I can tell you guys are fans, and I always love that, because if you're going to be in the industry and you're not a fan, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I mean, it comes, we have so many different inspirations that are just, like across a bunch of genres and eras and everything. And it's just like, it is cool. And, and one thing, Justin, you always say is like, just don't be shy about being a fan of stuff you like, because you never know like where it could lead, right? And
if you tell someone you like something, if you like wear a Millhouse shirt, if you like, you just literally don't know. Somebody might, and that's the thing, is that short circuit thing. I did not think that Andrew would be designing a bunch of stuff for us going forward, but then that's what happened.
Was.
Yeah. And then the really crazy thing is we were on set on Go Togo, and Go Togo is all transit vehicles. All the characters are transit vehicles. And we have a character called Dr. Reparo, who's like the maintenance car. And she has a robot arm that she uses to fix things. And Gord, the very same Gord, Johnny Five Gord, was playing the robot arm for Dr. Reparo, and he needed an extra performer. Like he needed someone to help him. So I was on set helping him do it.
Oh, that's cool.
Very, very quietly, he handed his cell phone to one of the other crew members. He said, "Take our picture." And so we're both puppeteering this arm. And at the time, I'm in director producer mode. I'm not thinking about anything. So I'm just getting the shot done. I went home that night and I looked at this picture, and it's Gord, who played Johnny Five, and me puppeteering a robot arm together. And I was like, this is
crazy.
I don't understand how this happened. Yeah, it's crazy.
I had a moment like that. I moderated for William Shatner when he came through town.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We met him too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That to me, I was like on stage with him, and I'm nervous, because there's that's a big crowd for me to be in front of. Yeah. And but most of it was just it just boggled my mind that I'm standing there, and even better than that was, they showed Rathacon. So the audience is out watching Rathacon.
You were at that screening where they did the screening and the talk with him.
Right.
You moderated that. Wow.
I was the moderator. So yeah, he was so they're watching the movie. Well, backstage, it's just me and William Shatner having dinner by ourselves. We're back there for the entire movie. It's just the two of us.
Oh my gosh.
Unbelievable.
Was it a good conversation?
Well, the conversation behind unbelievable. I tell people that, back there, he's just Bill. He's just a guy. He was asking about the podcast, asking about my family. He's talking about his dogs. It's just a guy. Yeah. And then as soon as he steps on stage, though, that's William Shatner.
Yes.
Completely different person.
Yeah.
Once we were on stage, I may have asked 4 questions, and he talked for like 2 hours.
Yes. Yeah. No, I mean, the thing that was, just not to go totally about William Shatner, but when we met him in Ticonderoga. You probably know about the Star Trek set tour.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah.
Ticonderoga, New York. So we did make the trek to Ticonderoga. Never thought we would actually do it, but our friend was also visiting from Scotland. And we were like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just drive, whatever's it, 8 hours from 7 hours?
Like 7-8 hours from Toronto.
And it was, of course, the weekend that William Shatner was coming. And we spent like I guess what felt like a whole day. Well, I guess it was a whole day with him, because like at certain points we were sitting on the bridge of the Enterprise, and he's sitting in the chair, and he's wanting to talk to us about whether free will exists or not. That was the conversation he wanted to have with the room. And I was like, and I turned to you and I was like, how did we get here? Like, I know how we got here, but how did we get here? But the thing is, this man who was 92 when we were spending time with him had the stamina, the professionalism, I mean, we were all here to see him, and he knew that, and he was like, I'm going to give you guys, a show. I'm going to put on a show. And from the moment, the early morning when we met him until, what was it, like 9 or 10 p.m. at night, this 92-year-old was just going. And I was like, I said to you, like, this is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
His energy. The show that we did, he takes pictures with everybody that wants one. And so we didn't wrap up till about 1:00 in the morning. And he drove himself 4 hours to the next show. And then he said, yeah, I'll sleep when I get there. And then that night, I guess he did another show. And he was, I'm guessing we must have seen him around the same time. He was in his 90s then.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I think what I walked away with from that experience was just the professionalism. Yes. Like, he had so much. I know there are stories about different encounters with William Shatner. Our encounter was that he was incredibly professional.
I mean, you got to think, guy's been doing it for 75 years. Of course, he's going to have moments.
Yeah. We're all only human, but that's right. The experience we had was really good.
Oh yeah.
And also, just again, as professionals in the industry and seeing the way he was, his plane landed at, I think, 10:30 the night before we saw him. And he was supposed to have seen us that evening. And he was calling to the set and saying, I'm coming. And James Cawley, the owner, was like, do not come, go and sleep. Like, they were, it was
amazing.
Like,
he was still coming.
He was like, I'm supposed to. I mean, his plane was delayed, and he was like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm gonna honor my commitment.
Such a pro, such a total pro. Yeah.
When I was growing up, and I'm switching subjects again, but when I was growing up, we had a lot of shows that used puppets, and that wasn't that big a deal growing up. So I've always loved, shows that use puppets. And I love the fact that some of your earlier stuff, you had a ton of that in there, and you still do some of it.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that. At what point did you decide to kind of go that, everybody uses special effects now. When did you decide you're going to do more practical?
Yeah, well, like we started our company because we had worked on a 50th anniversary special of Thunderbirds in the UK.
I saw that you had worked on that, both of you. That's great.
Yeah.
So we were both leads on the project. Yeah. In fact, like, I pitched it with 2 colleagues in England. And then then you could tell who we worked with on that. Yeah.
Some incredible artists who were working on like one person from Weta Workshop.
He was a senior model maker. Is a senior model maker at Weta.
Yeah, people who were, we had crew members like Lindsay Harris was on Rogue One, but also
they were filming Rogue One while we were doing this. So he was jumping to art department at Rogue One and then coming back to our set.
Wow. And Richard Gregory, who'd worked on Batman and Empire Strikes Back, and just in the model department, just doing some amazing practical effects work. So we were learning from all these people, and then when we came back to Canada after that project, we were like, we could actually use this to tell our own stories. We had ideas we had the idea for Mikshi, which was our first series, and we were like, this is so cool. Like, we just fell in love again, with the actual process of practical filmmaking, because the actual experience of doing it ourselves was so amazing. And we learned so much, and we thought, this idea, why don't we try blending a traditional hand puppet with practical miniature model effects? And that was kind of how we started our company. But yeah, it just for us, as Justin said, both of us had always been interested in puppetry and puppeteering. Even when we were younger, we were always kind of doing it in some form or another.
You played with Barbies, but not like a kid plays with Barbies. You were doing epic stories and epic stories and almost filming in your mind, and sometimes with a camera, with your university friend.
Yes,
you
guys were way too old to be doing this.
But I think that's the thing is our imagination works like that. It's we want to take a water bottle and turn it into a character and then have you feel something for it. So I think that it was kind of inevitable, even though you were working as a publicist at a book publishing company.
When I got back, I was sort of like, okay, well, we both kind of went back to like our lives and like work. Right. Then like, yeah, you went back to VFX and I went to publishing, and it was sort of like, okay. But then eventually we were like, you know what, like life is short.
Yeah.
Right. You got at some point you got to take a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And my mom had actually my mom passed away about a year after we got back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we thought, we talked about with her, like we talked about this dream of ours to kind of do this, and she said it would be her honor if like we used her life insurance to kind of start.
Oh, that's a good mom.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
Like she was always
and what a great startup story. That's
yeah. And then it was from there, and then we still didn't have a lot of money, so the place we found that we could rent was the back room of a pizza shop. So we were in this little closet, which I think was supposed to be where he'd store his like ingredients and stuff.
Yeah.
But it was this little tiny closet right behind a pizza shop in a small town in Ontario. And so literally we'd be filming stuff, and he would like ruin our shot because the owner would like be doing a delivery. So he's like holding a pizza box, and he walks through in front of the camera, and we go, "Oh, you ruined the shot." So it was a really interesting kind of rite of passage.
I'm betting you had some of your best times.
Yes,
we did. We did totally, and because it just felt like like the stakes of that time were low in terms of we were just experimenting, we were just like having fun, we were just trying stuff. Yeah. And it sort of it was a real time of learning and kind of and then realizing, okay, like we in England we had a giant space to work in for Thunderbirds, and now we're in this tiny little room. But when we look back at like the shots that we did in that room, we're like, it doesn't feel like the room was that small.
The room was tiny.
It was tiny. And like, we did establishing shots, we did like some water stuff, and it just feels
there was a scene where like the puppet character Meekshi, she's like a sheep. She's like a scientist sheep. She's like on the roof of like a radio station trying to like move a satellite dish. And we did this in this like tiny little room. And it doesn't look, I mean, it's obviously we could do it better now, but it doesn't look like we did it in the size of the room.
Right.
We did. I mean, to that point, one day as a kind of half joke, I told the landlord, "Oh, we can't get our wide shot because the bathroom's in the way." And 5 minutes later, he came out with like a sledgehammer and he knocked the bathroom wall down. And he's like, "Okay, now you can get your wide shot." So for a while, we didn't really have a bathroom wall, but we were like, "Oh, now we can back the camera up and like,
right,
extra foot,
yeah,
yeah." But that was all. So.
Absolutely bonkers times. But you're right. It was some of the best times. And our longtime collaborator, Jeff Mackey, our friend Jeff Mackey, who's been our director of photography and kind of genius guy who helps us do our crazy ideas. Like it was you and me and a lot of him in the back of the pizza shop. And,
love that.
Yeah. Sawing wood and gluing things and painting things. And, very rarely did our landlord say, "Hey guys, the fog is seeping into the pizza shop a bit too much. You just like
he probably loved that. He probably told people all the time that you're back there working.
We took turns trading fog. We sometimes like the pizza, like smoke from the pizza oven would waft.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like
that's true.
Our like fake fog would waft in. So. But no, he did, and it was funny because as we said, it was a small town, so you'd have like regulars coming into the pizza shop and being like poking their head in, looking. And,
we started. My son and I, we started just in a bedroom. And we were terrible. We didn't know any, had no clue what we were doing. We didn't do video when we started. We were just we were interviewing people by holding a phone up to a microphone.
Oh,
right.
I mean, it was bad. It was bad. But we, eventually we got our own studio. We kind of figured some stuff out, and here we are. But the best times we had were right there at the beginning when it was just me and him, just talking, in front of a microphone. No video, and we loved it. And it's still great. We still love it. It just, those were the best.
Yeah, it's a different energy when, just like you said, like you're just, it's all the passion and you're still learning and you're starting out.
All passion, no ability.
Right.
And no awareness that there is.
No awareness.
Right?
As we've been getting bigger as a company, and, Go Togo is our biggest production. We had, I think, 50 crew members in total, and like on a daily basis, about 25, 30 people on our set, like for the production of it. So it was really big compared to the pizza shop days. But, you're aware that as you scale up, you gain something and you lose something. That thing you're talking about, holding a phone up, like that's what you lose. I remember even hearing a friend of ours, David Elliott, who's unfortunately passed away. He was quite he made it to 93, I think. He was 93 years old. He worked on the original Thunderbirds, and we became friends with him working on the anniversary episodes. He actually came back to work on it, and he would tell us his happiest time wasn't working on Thunderbirds. It was the first show that studio did together, which was called Four Feather Falls. It was a puppet Western, and he said he has a vivid memory of being at their workshop at midnight making miniature hay bales for the puppets for this little Western. And his wife like went into labor and he had to like drive to the hospital, and she was also helping make the hay bales. And he was like, that was the best time. And it's like, we totally get that.
Yeah, I totally get that too. It's just, there's something about when everything's a struggle, but you're doing it together.
Yeah.
That just makes it worthwhile.
Sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, so Go Togo, you got second season coming up. It's pretty exciting. And I think, well, let's start this way. If anyone in the audience is not aware of what Go Togo is, describe the show. What's the show about?
So it's a show about a team of transit vehicles. So Togo is a subway. And so it's a subway, bus, and a streetcar going through little adventures in the city. And it's like Togo is sort of, he's new to the network, so he's kind of learning, what to do, what not to do. And, it's about their very important jobs that they do every day. So, they have to pick up riders every day, but it's like, in the process, they encounter various things, whether it's like between themselves, like, one gets jealous that the other one has picked up too many riders, or whether it's like something like, the ceiling caves in and Togo honked his horn too loudly.
Yeah, he was warned not to honk his horn in the tunnel, and he did it anyway.
Togo.
Yeah.
Well, and so season 2 though, we're getting some more vehicles, right?
Yes, that's right. So we have a ferry boat this season, named Merrie the ferry boat. She's a teenager, so that's exciting because
it is exciting.
Yeah, so Togo, Stella, and Wheeler, which are the street subway, bus, and streetcar.
A streetcar named Stella.
Streetcar named Stella, obviously. And yes, somebody does yell Stella.
I was going to ask, yes.
We oh God, I'm so glad that I think Bonnie caught it, our producer, because they recorded the dialogue already, and the kid just went Stella, and I was like, no, they have to go Stella. Right?
That's right. I always think of the Seinfeld episode. Where Elaine is yelling Stella.
No, I have seen that.
I guess it's all riffing on the Streetcar Named Desire. Yeah.
Yep.
So
we need to know about that point. Is that somebody else Stella really loudly?
But you're saying Merrie is a teenager.
Yes, Merrie's a teenager, so it's fun because it's that injecting that teenage energy into the mix, because it's like the kids kind of look up to her, but she also is not fully quite there yet with being an adult, so she's kind of irresponsible, kind of still wants to be a kid, and it's it's a fun
that's how teenage is, especially early teenage, because you still kind of like the stuff you liked as a kid, but you're at that age where it feels a little weird still playing with your toys, because you're wanting to do more adult stuff, but you still kind of like it. It's a weird age.
I think that's where Merrie is. We think if she was a human, she'd be about 14 or something, and so she does still kind of identify with the kid characters like Togo, Stella, and Wheeler, but she also wants to show that she's responsible and she's grown up. And of course, that ends up in season 2 causing all sorts of problems. Sometimes there's an episode where she's put in charge of basically babysitting the other ones while they're waiting for it to be finished.
She's at that age.
Exactly.
Yeah. But also, because she's a new character, we were able to do fun things like play up jealousy, all kinds of stuff we didn't do in season 1. So Wheeler the bus, Wheeler, who's a bit of an anxious bus, he's the first kid character to become friends with Merrie. And then the other characters become friends with her later, but there was a kind of jealousy thing going on where, some of the characters think that he likes Merrie better. And so we were able to do all these kinds of new stories.
Typical teenage nonsense.
Yes.
Totally.
Yes.
Totally.
It created a lot of dimension for the characters that we really, really wanted to do. We wanted to play up Togo's, as you said, he's new, he's a little bit irresponsible, he jumps before he looks all the time. Stella is again, she's like a 7-year-old kid, but she's kind of full of herself, and she thinks she's bossy, she thinks she knows everything. And then Wheeler, the bus, is very cautious. He likes his route the same every day. He doesn't like to go over the speed limit. He likes everything.
He likes a routine.
Yes. So episodes where, the control tower hub says to him, today you're going to go on a different route, it totally throws him. And he also has an episode where his side mirror, he has to have it replaced and it's the wrong color. It doesn't match the other one. And his whole day, he's like, he can't stop thinking about it. He's like, I can't do my job. I can't, whatever. And I of course,
I
like,
relate so
yeah,
hard.
like we were
kid,
kids that were like that.
That
Yeah.
would have destroyed me.
If one of our socks didn't match, or if like your pencil,
anything that makes you stand out as a kid, you usually don't like.
Yeah.
Unless you're choosing to stand out. But anything
Yes.
that kind of forces people to notice you when you don't want to be noticed, that's no good as a kid.
And then also, I think because we were both neurotic kids and we are neurotic adults, it's like if I was like, even if it was something no one else could see, if it was like a sock or something that was mismatched, the whole day I'd be like, oh gosh, I'm off. So Wheeler, even though there's nothing wrong with him, it's just a different colored mirror. He misses the riders he's supposed to pick up. He crashes into like a fruit
It throws him off.
Yeah. And of course, like, I think, thankfully, not to give away the whole plot of this episode, but of course, his friends are like, it's nothing actually has changed for you. The mirror still works. It's just a different color. So, but it takes him kind of.
That's part of the reason I love the show so much, because it's complicated themes that you're making simple for younger audiences to understand, so they can. They're learning about teamwork and about emotions that may come up that they haven't really had to deal with and stuff. So I don't want to say dumb it down, but it brings it down to their level, where they can kind of understand more complicated things. And I love that about the show, because I think you do it so well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
That was our hope. That was definitely our hope with season 2, for sure.
And I think season 2 does explore that even more. Because we were able to broaden the universe and like to kind of like season 1 was more like math focused. And season 2 is like now just character focused. So it's really exciting.
Yeah. My oldest grandson, he's 6, and he broke his leg when he was just a toddler. So he was just a little kid, and broke his leg. So he wasn't able to walk as quickly as some of the others because he was in a cast. Well, so he figured out that he really loved to play with Thomas. And Thomas the Train while he was in that cast, and kind of learned that. Well, then he got a little older, and he kind of moved away from Thomas, but always still had that, he still enjoyed it, but he just found other things. And then when I introduced him to Togo, he absolutely just went right back into that.
Oh, awesome.
It brought him right back into his love of Thomas and having the talking engines, and now he's got talking everything. He loved that. So he was the gateway for the rest of the grandkids.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they all love it. When they come over, they ask to watch. So
we're hoping that, Thomas the Tank Engine Thomas and Friends has obviously got a huge lineage. It started airing. Forget about the books, which are even older, but the TV show started airing 1984.
Yeah.
So, it's been part of public consciousness for a very long time. As we said, there was the North American version of it, Shining Time Station, that we grew up with. And so we do realize that we are kind of adding to this very, like, I want to say niche and special pantheon of, because like there's only a few shows, especially done with physical models, that exist. It's Thomas, Tugs, which was a British show made by the same
Tugs,
people. Yeah. And then there was Theodore Tugboat, which was a Canadian show.
Remember that one? Yeah.
Made by some of the same people that made Tugs, a few. And then I think there was Jim Henson's construction site.
Yep.
Which was a whole bunch of construction vehicles. And then I think there's us. So I think it's just Dream Street.
But I think like in terms of, was Dream Street like actual models?
Yeah. Brian Johnson worked on it. So I think it's 6. I think we're the 6th show that's done like this. And so really it's not a lot.
Yeah.
And we do hope that because we have this toys come to life feel with our physical real characters that we're shooting on a set, that it'll kind of awaken that part of a kid's brain, and also, we just tried to make it a colorful, fun looking show, right?
Yeah, something that it's true. It's like, it's so nice to hear stories like yours where, you have a young kid of this generation like who still responds so strongly to like a real vehicle, a real talking vehicle. And I think there is something to that, that it's just kids just like to play with real things. And
Yeah.
it's
Well, that's what it does. It inspires him to play, which is the best, and not just him, the rest of the grandkids too. They watch an episode, and then usually by the second episode, they're already playing, but it's just on in the background, and they'll pause and watch every once in a while. And then, after that, they just play.
Yeah.
And I love that because it's kind of, it sparks their imagination.
To that point, we're actually doing a promo screening. It'll be in Toronto. So if people are in Toronto, it's free. And it's on January 24th, 2026. And we're going to let the kids play with Togo and Stella and Wheeler. And so we're going to bring the real ones and bring their remote controls and have a little, set of Transitville on a table. And so we're going to screen, I think, 8 episodes of season 2. So they get to watch it first. And then we're going to say, you guys can now, play.
That'll be they're going to enjoy that. That's amazing. That's a great idea.
We did a test of this because we did an open house day at our studio, and it was for cast and crew, but people brought their kids, like some of the crew members brought their kids or whatever, so they were playing with the actual vehicles on the set, and then even one of our prop operators were having them do little scenes. So they're like, okay, pretend Stella has a secret that she doesn't want anyone to know, or Togo's being a brat, so do a little scene like that, and the kids would just light up and they would just do these scenes with the characters.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
If you've got
how long does it take you to film an episode?
So each episode, it's like clinically, it's like 1.5 days, or like 1.6 or 7.
Yeah.
And they're 5 minutes long. So, but we block shoot, so like we won't obviously do like go through the whole script beginning to end. Like we'll like. Right. Within like a block of episodes, we'll shoot like all the scenes that take place in the subway tunnel, all the scenes that take place in the transit yard, and blah blah blah. So it, it's like, but it works out to be roughly a day and a half for 5 minutes.
Yeah. That's actually quicker than I thought.
Yes, it is, and it's budget driven.
Yes, because we're on a Canadian kids show budget, and again, we're super grateful for all the support that we've gotten from all our funders and partners. But if you contrast that with the fact, I did find out recently that Thomas and Friends, the original show, they would shoot a 7-minute episode in 5 days. That's way more time. It's way more time.
A lot of time.
Yeah.
Well, that was I had heard that. I'd heard it took, I think I heard a week to make an episode. So that's why I was curious. That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Well, and especially when you look at the quality of what you're putting out there, that's impressive.
Well, thank you.
For you guys. Yeah.
I think the great thing that happened when we finished, I mean, as creators, you're always worried before anyone's seen anything. And so when we did season 1, we'd shot a bit, and CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, is our broadcaster in Canada. They're the ones who commissioned the show. And we hadn't shown them anything yet. So we shot a few days, and I put together a little reel, and I sent it to them, and we both held our breaths because we were like, oh gosh, are they going to like this? What did we do? We spent all this, all these resources to make this thing. And the email that we got back was like, the exec at CBC, he loved it.
Oh, it's great.
He was like, the words he said were near CG perfection. And I was like, this is kind of exactly where we want to be. It's like we are competing with CG shows, but we're not CG. And it's still got the warmth of the real,
right?
And then when he actually came and visited our set, and he was like, "Where's the set?" And we said, "That's it,
right there."
And he was like, "But where's the rest of it?" We're like, "That's it." And so he thought it was like, he was like, "I thought
that's a really good compliment."
Yeah. I mean, and that's like we said about Meek Shear, Thunderbirds, or whatever. It's like the fun of model miniature filmmaking is that trick. That like your imagination just fills in the rest. Like it's you don't need a lot of space.
That is true. Because when we read, our minds really filling in all those gaps. So it's the same type of thing. If you give me enough, I'll fill in the rest.
that's what makes puppetry so magical, and that's why it's like it's so cross-cultural and global. It's because, like, it's just something the brain does to kind of identify feelings or emotions or
Yeah.
whatever you want in an object or character.
Love that. Love that. Well, and thank you both for taking a little bit of time to come on to talk about it. The new season starts December 1st. Is that right?
That's right.
Does.
Yes.
And so for people outside of Canada, the best place to catch Go Togo season 2 would be on YouTube.
Yeah.
So we have an
Well,
official
I think that's where we watch. Yeah.
Go Togo YouTube channel is where you can check out stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're in Canada, it's on CBC Gem, which is our streaming service in Canada. It's
Which
also,
you would think by now we would be able to get that here.
we would hope
It's just
so.
an app.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It's
I wish
Yes.
you guys could access it, but CBC Gem is geo-blocked to Canada, and then also if you happen to be in Canada, it's on TV at like 8:15 every morning, so you can catch it there too.
Yeah. But yeah, YouTube, we're gonna be, filling YouTube with just a bunch of clips and, fun character stuff.
Well,
and
that's like for my grandkids, that's all they need.
right.
They're good with that.
Yep. Amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you're working on that we can keep an eye out for?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we're developing a feature film right now, actually.
Amazing.
Called Spacebout. And it's so just prefacing, it's not for kids. It's an adult feature film about a space otter who does food delivery in space. And it's all exploring the grief around the recent death of her mother. So she kind of goes through all the different stages of grief, but through food delivery.
So it's got a levity to it.
Yeah.
We're doing it with puppets, but the puppets look quite different from anything we've done before. And we're really excited about this project. We've been working on it on and off for, I guess, 2 and almost 3 years. Yeah, because even while Go Togo was going and all this stuff, we were, working on the story, and we actually built that space otter puppet that you were talking about. We have her already, so it's as happens in any kind of filmmaking, it's a slow process, but we've just never stopped working on it. So that's the big next thing that we are working
That's
on.
awesome. That's all. You have to when that's ready, you got to come back.
Oh, we'd love
we'd
to
love
talk
to.
about that.
Yeah, you got my info now. You got to come back. That's exciting.
Sure.
And we barely even though we talked about William Shatner a lot, like we barely talked about the fact that we are like mega Star Trek fans.
Oh, I know you are too. Yeah, you gotta come back. We got so much more to talk about.
Oh, I feel it. Yeah, for sure.
Some of your listeners might have seen that Filmation thing that I did, which was when I took TNG and Voyager and made it as if it was Filmation from the 70s.
Yes.
And that was like for a while, that was like all our company was talking about was this Star Trek thing, which I just made as a joke for her birthday. It was like we were watching the animated series and we were like, we both were like, wouldn't it be funny if you took like the most serious scene from TNG and did it like the 70s cartoon?
That. So I'm good friends with this actress, comedian, Alice Wetterland, that's on Resident Alien, but she does a podcast, a Trek podcast. So she's a big Trek, fan. But she's seen that. She brought that up when she came on the podcast. She brought up watching that.
I love that.
Yeah, I had no idea that was you doing it.
The coolest thing was like, Robert Beltran and Robert Picardo and Will Wheaton, all these people were like tweeting about it and stuff. And they were like saying like, the team that made this, like, wow, this is amazing. And I was like, it was just me. It was
me.
Yeah. And that was super cool. Like when people found out that was like a connection, it was like, because
just how many people are still finding it.
Yes.
Even though Star Trek is there's so many Star Trek fans out there, there's still people who've like never seen it who are like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't know this existed.
I know. I've always been a fan, and I'm a Star Wars fan too. You can be
too.
Yep.
But Trek's always had a special place in my heart. And I got the first podcast guest we ever had was Jennifer Nash, and she played Maribor, in Inner Light, Next Generation.
Yes.
And we've become so close.
Oh, that's amazing.
It has been the best. She drove down, like this how it went. I sent her a note on Facebook and I said, hey, we've got this little thing going. I think we could promote whatever it was she was working on. and she was she was in Pittsburgh, so it's about 3 hours from us. Well, she called me, and we talked for a while. She ended up driving from Pittsburgh to our house, 3 hours. We did the podcast interview at the pool. We're just sitting at the pool. We've never done one. It was the first one we'd ever done. And then she cooked us dinner.
Oh,
amazing. Well,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
And we've been tight. She comes to visit us. She lives in Seattle now. We go out there to see her. Just the best. It's the best.
I love how your
Love that.
fandom of Trek led to making a friend.
Yeah, me too. But that's kind of the Trek community.
Yeah.
If you're a fan and somebody else is a fan, you've got that in common. It
Yeah.
doesn't really matter about the rest of the stuff. You've got something to talk about.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's a big thing.
It's a big
It's a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. Last
you.
thing though, before we wrap up, where can we find you on social media? Where can we find more about the things that you're doing?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram at Gazelle Automations.
Yeah.
Go Togo also has its own Instagram. It's at Go Togo TV. We are also on Facebook.
Mhm.
We've got a website.
All
we're
the
on
projects
Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, yeah.
Yeah.
But all our projects are on our website. So if you go to gazelleautomations.com, you can see the stuff we've done for Doctor Who, the stuff we did for Star Trek, Thunderbirds. There's all that other stuff that people I think would recognize, and then also our original stuff. Yeah, and we're on YouTube. Yeah. We're in all the usual places.
That's right. Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much. And open invitation when you're ready. Just reach out. We'll do it again.
Oh, absolutely. Would love to.
I know it's been so fun. Okay, hold on a second.
We do that. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, how fun was that? Lindsay and Justin Lee. They are incredibly talented. If you've got a kid or a grandkid, you should definitely be watching Go Togo. Terrific kid show. Well, I think one of the best ones out there. So definitely give that a watch. We are talking, they're such huge Star Trek fans. I'm going to have them on just so we can talk Star Trek. So they will definitely be back. So keep an eye out for that. Go Togo second season begins December the 1st. So keep your eye out for that, especially if you're in Canada. If you're finding us for the first time, our YouTube channel is MeisterCon Pod. Please subscribe. Really helps us out. Our website's meistercon.com. You can find over 1,000 episodes, audio and video versions, both on the website, meistercon.com. Thank you guys so much. Till next time. Bye, everybody.